is the WrestleBread Podcast, bringing you the latest news, recaps, and analysis of AEW and WWE. Get the unique perspective from a wrestling fan of over 25 years. Here's your host, Jaydee.
What's going on, guys? This is Jaydee here, and this is episode 51 of the WrestleBread Podcast. So, like I said in the last episode, this is a 2-4 where I'm going over WrestleMania 31 through 35, and then we're going to hop into WrestleMania 36. So, for this WrestleMania, I didn't rewatch because I kind of remembered most of things that happened for these WrestleManias, since they're so recent and my memory isn't too shot for these. So, with this time, at this WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan has lost the title, and he is actually fighting for the Intercontinental Championship in a ladder match. This WrestleMania 31, took place in California. And the thing about this is because, WWE they like for WrestleMania to start at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Because they're all the way in California, it was still daytime. And it was still daytime for a lot of these matches. This featured the return of Sting. And Sting went up against Triple H. And I felt as though Sting should have won this match. But unfortunately, he lost. Because, for whatever reason, WWE likes to put into your face that WWE won the Monday Night Wars. Instead of just letting Sting win just so he can have, that moment. And then for some dumb reason, they had the NWO come out and then they had DX come out. Which, if you don't know what's going on, NWO is friends with Triple H anyway. And I even knew that NWO and Sting kind of had beef as well. So it was kind of dumb that NWO comes out to support Sting. But I guess we were supposed to just jump for joy that we had NWO versus DX. So, we had Andre the Giant Battle Royale. Now, this was the time that Damien Mizdow was around, and Damien Sandow was so popular at being the stunt double of The Miz that, I believe The Miz was in this Battle Royale too. And Damien Sandow started to mimic the things that The Miz was doing in the ring. It was the funniest thing. If you haven't seen Damien Mizdow before, just check him out on Twitter. Not Twitter, YouTube. It's also, like I said, featured a ladder match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Daniel Bryan won this match, but then he would have to relinquish the title due to, I believe it was concussion, but it was this spot where him and Dolph Ziggler were headbutting each other, and it was kind of tough to watch. This also featured Randy Orton going against Seth Rollins. Randy Orton with one of the best RKOs I've ever seen. Seth Rollins went to go for the curb stomp, and Randy Orton kind of lifted him up all the way in the air and then came down with the RKO. Best RKO I've ever seen. This was also AJ Lee's last WrestleMania match. She teamed up with Paige to go against the Bella Twins, which they won. Rusev went against John Cena for the United States Championship. And Rusev came out in the tank, and Rusev lost. And that's, once again, John Cena destroying something that had a hot streak going. This featured The Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. Some people felt as though that this would have been a passing of a torch between The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt. Now, Bray Wyatt had a really cool entrance where he had the scarecrows that were kind of still, and then he kind of brought them to life. And then The Undertaker came out, and because they're in California, it was nice and daylight. I was so pissed off about that back around this time that The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt didn't have their entrances done in the dark. I mean, they had, for The Undertaker, they had like flames and stuff, but it still was light outside. And this also had the main event of Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, WrestleMania 31 to 35, I would like to call the Roman Reigns years. This was all about Roman Reigns and his fight to go for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, not a lot of people like Roman Reigns at this time. I would say he got it a lot worse than John Cena, because at least there were fans of John Cena that will say, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Roman Reigns pretty much got about 90% booed. And people really didn't care too much about Brock Lesnar because he defeated The Undertaker at last year's WrestleMania, and people weren't really caring about Roman Reigns because everyone felt as though Roman Reigns was getting shoved down their throat. And what happens? Out comes Seth Rollins with the Money in the Bank Championship to turn it into a triple threat match. Everyone called it the heist of the century because Seth Rollins walked away with the championship in the end. So going on to WrestleMania 32, just when you thought you wouldn't see Roman Reigns again, surprise, he is going against Triple H for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at the main event. Now this WrestleMania featured more matches on the pre-show. I believe this WrestleMania was about 10 hours long, give or take. This featured Chris Jericho going against AJ Styles. And I believe this was the match where you see AJ Styles with his L'Oreal hair. Such nice hair. Chris Jericho defeated AJ Styles, of course. We also had the League of Nations. Hey, remember them? Alberto Del Rio, Rusev, and Sheamus with King Barrett going against the New Day in a 6-man tag team match. The League of Nations won that match, and then they rolled off to the sunset. And they would be split up, and that would be the end of Alberto Del Rio, and then Bad News Barrett as well. We had Brock Lesnar going against Dean Ambrose. Now, around this time, I believe it was last year's WrestleMania where we got the Suplex City bitch. And so I believe it was around this time we had Suplex City bitch. I think that was at WrestleMania 31, where Brock Lesnar would sit there and suplex people just to suplex people. This wasn't really the best of WrestleMania. We also had Charlotte going against Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. Now this was to crown the first ever WWE's Women's Championship, because this was all about the women's evolution that WWE swear they started, but will never admit that they actually copied off of UFC and other promotions that started to feature women, and then come to realize, hey, maybe we really shouldn't do this Divas thing again. Even though we got rid of the bra and panties match, maybe we should give the women a little bit more time. Because this women's match here lasted for 16 minutes, and it was damn good. Charlotte wins this match to become the first ever WWE Women's Championship. This also featured The Undertaker going against Shane McMahon, who was featured in the Hell in a Cell match. Now, this was actually the time that Shane McMahon was a fan favorite, because Shane McMahon came back to WWE after, I don't know how long he was gone. That was a great moment, and he decided to do everything the fans wanted, and it was a breath of fresh air. And with this match, though, came the very difficult stipulation where if Shane McMahon wins, he would have gained control of Raw, and Undertaker would have no longer competed at WrestleMania. So it kind of puts you in a bit of a tough spot, because Raw was shitty at this point, and Shane McMahon being in control of Raw would be so great because everyone loved Shane McMahon, but you didn't want The Undertaker to lose at WrestleMania again. But in the end, The Undertaker defeated Shane McMahon, and then after that, Vince McMahon was like, you know what? You can still have Raw. So we all went through the stress of not really knowing who to cheer for nothing. We had Baron Corbin, who won the Andre the Giant Memorial Trophy. This was his first WrestleMania, and he won this, and it really didn't do much. This also featured The Rock coming out randomly, and the Wyatt family came out, and then for some reason Eric Rowan went up against The Rock, and The Rock defeated the Wyatt family. In case you needed another reason why, you really shouldn't be so excited about the fact that the Wyatt family won. Now, this WrestleMania featured Triple H, who was the champion, coming in for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, going against Roman Reigns, and Stephanie McMahon was in his corner. And Roman Reigns wins the match, and you get the closing shot of him holding the title with, the fireworks going off. And you would think that that would be that. Whereas though, okay, you guys finally got what you wanted, which is Roman Reigns, standing tall and winning the title. And it was like, nope, we want to do something else too. So come WrestleMania 33. With this match, we had John Cena and Nikki Bella going against The Miz and Maurice, which John Cena and Nikki Bella wins, and we got one of the most, I would have to say, awkward proposals that I've seen on TV. John Cena proposing to Nikki Bella, which she says yes, and then they run off to the sunset until Nikki Bella says that she wants kids too, and John Cena says, hell no. We also had Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. It was a very weird match, I have to say. Now, this was a bit of an exciting point because Bray Wyatt at this point won the WWE Championship. But then he loses. He had won the WWE Championship before this WrestleMania, and then loses it to Randy Orton. So, yeah. We also had Brock Lesnar going against Goldberg, the returning Goldberg, that people was so hyped for, but people kind of remembered the last time they went against each other at WrestleMania, where they both were leaving the company. And I really wasn't expecting much. Goldberg winning the Universal Championship, and then Brock Lesnar defeats him. Actually, this was the time that they were going against each other a couple of times. I believe they went against each other at Survivor Series, and then Goldberg defeated Brock Lesnar for the title at first, and then they went against each other again, I believe. Yeah, Goldberg defeated Brock Lesnar in a minute and 26 seconds. And then eliminated him again at the Royal Rumble. And people were very excited about it because everyone was kind of tired of Brock Lesnar at this point, due to the fact that he defeated The Undertaker and then he would continuously have a bunch of squash matches where he barely even tries. But people were excited the fact that Goldberg was winning matches. I keep on saying, I was not the biggest fan of Goldberg, but I was slightly cheering for Brock Lesnar at this point. Brock Lesnar defeats Goldberg. This match actually lasts 4 minutes and 45 seconds. But yeah. Then we had the 6-pack challenge for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship, which Naomi won, so kudos to her. And then we had Seth Rollins going against Triple H in a non-sanctioned match. We had now this was a WrestleMania that the New Day hosted. So they had a WWE Raw Tag Team Championship because now at this point we had Raw versus SmackDown again. And they had Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, who were the champions, going against Cesaro and Sheamus, going against Enzo Amore and Big Cass in a triple threat match. The New Day comes out and mentions that this is now a fatal 4-way and that a team is going to be added. They were in their wrestling gear. And they started to walk like they were about to be entered themselves into the match. And then comes the returning Hardy Boys. Great moment for this WrestleMania. Everyone cheered, everyone clapped, and it was a very good time. The Hardy Boys win, and they become the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. We also had Roman Reigns going against The Undertaker. And at this point, people definitely hated Roman Reigns up to this point because he was definitely getting pushed down our throats over and over again. And we wouldn't have The Undertaker lose again at WrestleMania, right? Right? Well, unfortunately for Undertaker wrestling fans like myself, Roman Reigns defeated The Undertaker. I don't know why. And then after this, what made it even worse, if this is what I'm thinking about, after the match, you see the Undertaker put on his gear, and then he slowly takes off his gloves, coat, and his hat, and he puts it in the middle of the ring. He goes over, kisses his wife, who is Michelle McCool, and then he walks up the entrance ramp. He had his back to the crowd, and he does raise his whole arm up, and then he gets lowered down the stage as if he's retiring. Now, I'm going to admit, I was tearing up at this point because first of all, I was sad, but I was so enraged because I was like, do not tell me that Roman Reigns just retired The Undertaker. Of all the people to do it, do not tell me that Roman Reigns had defeated The Undertaker and retired him. The Raw after Mania, Roman Reigns comes out in a crowd of boos, picks up the mic and says, "It's my yard now." Now, I respected that because I'm like, okay, you defeated him. You're gonna walk around, you're gonna walk around like that. And then he turns around and does this whole, well, it was bittersweet to defeat The Undertaker, but it's like, no, wallow in it. We are hating on you, and sit there and say, let me stand in the lake of your tears. But they didn't, because they wanted Roman Reigns to once again be a fan favorite and to go after the title once again. And why I say once again, let's go to WrestleMania 34, which featured the main event of Brock Lesnar, once again going against Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Now, once again, people was not a fan of Roman Reigns because it's Roman Reigns going against Brock Lesnar for the title once again. Now, this WrestleMania featured The Rock, and there was a moment where The Rock came out. He cut a promo with that was last year, where The Rock cut a promo with Stephanie McMahon and Triple H in the ring. And then he pointed out to Ronda Rousey, and he brings her into the ring. WrestleMania 31, he did that. Wow. I completely forgot to mention that. This is what happens when you don't watch it back and you're going off from memory. So he brings in Ronda Rousey. She slaps Stephanie, and I think she does a judo flip with Triple H. So this leads to this WrestleMania where we had Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey going against The Authority, which is Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. People were not really sure of how Ronda Rousey would be in the ring. There were some people who was kind of hating, that, this UFC fighter was coming in. Hopefully we won't get another Brock Lesnar. And, that match was definitely a really good match. Ronda Rousey holding her own. We all knew that Kurt Angle had the bad neck. But that match was very fun and very exciting. And I was one of the people who didn't have high expectations for that match. And Ronda Rousey proved me wrong. And we also had Daniel Bryan returning as well, teaming up with Shane McMahon to go against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So, of course, this returned to Yes Movement. Everyone was so happy because Daniel Bryan is finally back. And he is finally at a WrestleMania as well. This also featured AJ Styles going against Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE Championship. This also had The Undertaker going against John Cena. Now, this was kind of like an improv 2 match, if I'm not mistaken. John Cena was calling out The Undertaker, and he was sitting in the audience. And the referee informed him that The Undertaker had arrived in the arena. John Cena goes, "What?" And you see him run off, and that was used as a gif, of course. So then after a match, John Cena comes out, he calls out The Undertaker, the lights go out, and then Elias appears. John Cena goes to attack Elias, he goes up the ramp, and then John Cena kind of pauses, and he looks around, and then the lights go out. Everybody gets hyped. And then the lights come back up, you see The Undertaker's coat and hat, appear in the ring. And then it was struck by lightning. And then I think the lights went out again. And then the coat and the hat was gone at that point. And then Undertaker makes his entrance. And everybody was so happy. I was happy that it wasn't Roman Reigns to defeat him. But of course, people were kind of iffy because even though Roman Reigns defeated The Undertaker, it was not a pretty match at all. And The Undertaker has been on the decline with some of his matches so far. So to see The Undertaker come back, and The Undertaker came back dominating. This was a short match. This match was about 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And that's pretty much all that we needed, really. Undertaker was basically on his A game, looking really good, of course, performing his best as well. He dominated the match and he defeated John Cena. And that was that. We also had Cesaro and Sheamus going against Braun Strowman for WWE Raw Tag Team Championship. I believe Braun Strowman needed a partner or the person he was going to partner up against. I think it was like a partner of his choosing or something like that. And then Braun Strowman said that he doesn't need a partner, that he can take on Cesaro and Sheamus on his own. And he picked out this like 10-year-old kid in the audience named Nicholas. And Braun Strowman and Nicholas wins. And yeah, this 10-year-old won the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship. Of course, they had to relinquish the title because it's a kid who is holding the title, of course. So it really didn't make much sense. And that was WrestleMania 30. Oh my gosh, what WrestleMania am I at? I think this was 34. So going on to WrestleMania 35. The most recent one, which features of course, the first ever women's main event for WrestleMania. Becky Lynch going against Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. This was I would say this is the WrestleMania that the fans got exactly what they wanted. We had Kofi Mania going on. We had Seth Rollins we wanted Seth Rollins to defeat Brock Lesnar again. We had, Becky Lynch, her rise as well. And we got pretty much all that we wanted from this WrestleMania. We even had Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder winning the Raw Tag Team Championship. So why I will not say this is I went through all the WrestleManias. I didn't even take really a note of what I would say is one of the best WrestleManias. I would say, from top to bottom, as far as the card, I would say this is up there. Because we definitely got a lot of good things out of this. We had Seth Rollins defeating Brock Lesnar to win the WWE Universal Championship. He becomes the Beast Slayer. We had AJ Styles going against Randy Orton. We had a fatal 4-way tag team match, which featured Aleister Black and Ricochet, Rusev and Nakamura, The Bar and the Usos. We had Shane McMahon going against The Miz in a Falls Count Anywhere match. I wasn't really the biggest fan of that ending, but that match went all over the crowd. We also had the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, the Boston Hug Connection, which was the last time that they were the Boston Hug Connection until they went into the back and cried that they lost their titles. Nia Jackson, Tamina, Beth Phoenix, and Natalya. Beth Phoenix and Natalya were actually one of the favorites in this match. But it was the Iconics who won this match, and they cried because of all the hard work they went through. We had Kofi Kingston going against Daniel Bryan, and I have to say, the storyline with Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan was so good. Daniel Bryan is so good as a wrestler. As a wrestler and as a person to put on gimmicks, because he was the heel in this match. And he was so much of the heel that, there was no yes movement. It was Kofi Mania. And the fact that it was a callback to what Daniel Bryan went through at WrestleMania 30 was so cool. But Kofi Kingston wins to become the WWE Championship, the first African American to win the title. I know everybody keeps talking about The Rock, but The Rock is half Samoan and half black. This is the first 100% black person to win the title. And this, I teared up for it. A lot of people teared up for that match. We also had Samoa Joe going against Rey Mysterio. This was a short match, I believe, because Rey Mysterio got injured or was injured, and this was a short match. We had Roman Reigns, who's returning after a battle with leukemia, to go against Drew McIntyre as well, and he was cheered for this match too. We had Triple H going against a returning Batista. Batista coming back from his Marvel movies, of course. The gif that everyone keeps using of "Give me what I want." This was a brutal match. This was a no holds bar match. This was very long, first of all. This was a 24-minute match. And this was kind of a bit of a tiring match. By the time we got to the main event, the crowd was kind of defeated, but it was still all good. We had Baron Corbin going against Kurt Angle. This was Kurt Angle's farewell match, and Baron Corbin won, which I get all wrestlers who leaving out, they rather go out on their back to put over someone, but please, Kurt Angle, seriously, Baron Corbin's your person. We also saw the Demon Finn Balor going against Bobby Lashley for the Intercontinental Championship, which is Finn Balor wins. And then we had the main event of the winner takes all for the Women's SmackDown Championship and Raw Championship, which was Becky Lynch going against Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. And Becky Lynch won, and she became Becky Two Belts. And I have to say, that WrestleMania lasted for so long, it was ridiculous. So now, going into this WrestleMania, there's a lot of changes with this WrestleMania. First off, this WrestleMania is taking place over the course of 2 nights. This will be taking place at the Performance Center. This will be hosted by Ron Gronkowski. And I feel like this WrestleMania isn't even finished. Let's see. I'm trying to pull up the updated card. The one I just saw still has Roman Reigns listed on here. Let's see if this is updated. And it's being said that they're going to they're going to make the announcement that Roman Reigns is actually officially pulled from the match at WrestleMania. Okay. So this may be a bit of a spoiler if you haven't heard. I'm reading off of CBS Sports of what their card is. I think I'm hoping this is the official card, and then they go through their predictions. Okay. So, going to my predictions for WrestleMania 36, I really feel like none of this matters because we're dealing with the coronavirus. There is no crowd. WWE really haven't been putting their all into really this WrestleMania. Of course, Drew McIntyre had a kick-ass promo. I've only seen the one part that they showed, which is Drew McIntyre standing in a field with the wind blowing. He says, "I've returned home to prepare for my destiny." I can't do the accent. The accent really makes it so cool. And then you just see this old guy stand next to him and goes, "Aye. So what are we gonna do now?" I think that's what he says. I'm going off of memory here, but it was such a kick-ass promo. I didn't get a chance to watch the full video, but I'm pretty sure just off that one thing and then seeing Drew McIntyre in his gear, first off, carrying 2 barrels on his shoulders walking up the hill, I think it'll be very cool. So let me go into my predictions. I'm recording this almost at midnight and I need to sleep soon. So starting off, we have the Women's Tag Team Championship of the Kabuki Warriors going against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Asuka is awesome. Asuka is number 1, but I am going to go with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. I don't think they have yet to win these titles. But like I feared with these Women's Tag Team Championship titles, they really haven't done a lot with them. They really haven't done much to really kind of put them over. So even with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross winning, maybe because it's Alexa Bliss holding the title that they'll do a little more with them. But I'm gonna go with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross on this one. Sorry if you hear sounds. I just realized I should be writing these predictions down so I can keep track of them. Next up is Otis versus Dolph Ziggler. Of course, this storyline with Dolph Ziggler and Mandy Rose is going to come to a head. And it's going to be realized that Mandy Rose really isn't into Dolph Ziggler like that. Maybe he told her some lie about Otis and it come to find out, it's not true. And I think it could be something with Sonya Deville as well, that there is going to be a breakup of Fire and Desire, even though I think they're a really good tag team together. But I think this is leading to the breakup of Fire and Desire. But I'm going to go with Otis on this one for storyline purposes. We also have Aleister Black going against Bobby Lashley. It feels like this was kind of thrown together because I could have sworn I saw Aleister Black going against random people who for some reason gets frightened that Aleister Black sits in the ring. I mean, watch him film, study up on who you're going against, why don't you? I'm going to go with Aleister Black on this one because it's Aleister Black. I think Bobby Lashley's going to have Lana next to him. But ever since Bobby Lashley came back and he's been involved with this Lana storyline, his stock has fallen so hard. Next up is Elias versus King Corbin. We saw the dramatic and the replayed dramatic of the reenactment of the Lion King between Elias and King Corbin. I'm gonna go on you know what? I was going to go with Corbin until I really thought about it because we had the little thing with Baron Corbin and Gronkowski involved. And I think that Gronkowski is going to do something to help Elias wins. I wouldn't be surprised if Corbin wins this. I might go back to Corbin winning. And then Gronkowski does something afterwards. But I'm going to stick with this. So next up, we got the Raw Tag Team Championship. We have the Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Austin Theory. Andrade has been taken out of this match. Andrade got injured and then they replaced him with Austin Theory. The Profits just won their title, but I feel like there's going to be a title change because Angel Garza is so cool. And, him ripping off the pants never gets old. And him flirting with, I think it's Charlie in the back is, kind of funny too. So next up we have the SmackDown Tag Team Championship ladder match of The Miz and John Morrison going against The New Day and the Usos. I am going to pick Miz and Morrison to retain, so they can continue with their very funny promos. I think that they're going to keep the titles for just a little bit longer. Next up, we got an Intercontinental Championship, Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. I mean, how can you not go with Daniel Bryan on this one? I mean, it's Daniel Bryan. He got Drew Gulak with him. Can we say? Drew Gulak, the Philly owned. From Philly made. In Daniel Bryan's corner training him. Their little, things that they do, like they were being interviewed and Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan were both doing squats. That was amazing. I need more of that type of content while we're dealing with this coronavirus. Next up, we have Kevin Owens going against Seth Rollins. I cannot stand this Monday Night Messiah gimmick that Seth Rollins is doing, so I'm going to pick Kevin Owens to kick his ass. After that, we got the SmackDown Women's Championship. We got Bayley going against Sasha Banks, Naomi, Lacey Evans, and Tamina for a fatal 5-way elimination match. I'm going to go with Tamina on this one. Just kidding. This is an elimination match. I'm going to go with Tamina to be the first one to get eliminated. Sorry, Tamina. I really would love for you to win the title one day. I mean, she's been in and out with this company for so long between her and Natalya. But I am going to go with Naomi. I feel like Sasha Banks is showing hints that there is a crack in the team. There's a crack in the team, and I feel like Sasha Banks is going to do something to distract Bayley, whether or not they will, fight each other. Maybe one of them will get eliminated, and that will have Naomi pick up the win. After that, we have the NXT Women's Championship. We got Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. I do not want Charlotte Flair to win this. I feel like Charlotte Flair is going to win it, but I'm going to go with my girl Rhea Ripley because I do not want Charlotte Flair to win this. Charlotte Flair doesn't need this win. Rhea Ripley needs the win. Charlotte Flair doesn't. Just like I said, Charlotte Flair really didn't need to win the Royal Rumble match. But now I understand why, because so she can clear out the way of Shayna Baszler. Speaking of Shayna Baszler, we have the Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. I'm going to go with Shayna with this one. As much as I like Becky Lynch, I feel as though she was much more exciting going after the title than her having the title. It may be a bit too soon for Shayna to win the title. Maybe they're building her up strong so that Becky Lynch can retain the title and kind of put more oomph to her title reign. But I'm going to go with Shayna Baszler on this one. Then we got Edge versus Randy Orton in the last man standing match. Oh my gosh, I wish that this was in front of a crowd so we could all sing Edge's theme song together. I'm kind of tempted to record myself reacting to WrestleMania, but normally I'm eating while I'm watching WrestleMania. There's people who I'll be watching in my living room, and so I don't think it'll be cool to, react to something. I got like a mouthful of cheesesteak and fries and cheese, and you'll see whatever it is I decide to drink that night. So I don't know. It's up in the air, but I'm going to go with my guy Edge on this one, just so I can hear his sweet theme music again. Then we have John Cena going against The Fiend Bray Wyatt in Firefly Funhouse match. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to go with The Fiend on this one. The Fiend is going to get his revenge, and maybe this will heal John Cena. And when I say heal, I mean heal him to turn heel. Or at least back to the Thugonomics something. Give us something different. If John Cena wins this, like we always say, we will riot. Next up, we got The Undertaker versus AJ Styles in a Boneyard match. I don't know what that means either. It feels like one of them buried alive type of stuff that The Undertaker feels at home with. And as much as I like AJ Styles, I don't want AJ Styles to defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. It already breaks my heart that The Undertaker lost twice. I don't need him to lose 3 times at WrestleMania. And plus, it seems like The Undertaker is kind of doing his, hybrid badass phenom right now. But I'm gonna go with The Undertaker. Just because. Next up, we got Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. Now, this one is a bit up in the air because we don't have the crowd if Brock Lesnar wins. There's no crowd to mess up that moment. But the fact that, this is Drew McIntyre, this is his moment, I don't know. I'm gonna write down Drew McIntyre for right now, but I think it could go either way. The fact that, there's no crowd, he won't really have that much of a moment. Hopefully they will revisit this when there's a crowd and he can win his first title there. Because when he wins his first title, there's really no one there to really react to it. So, spoiler alert, I'm reading. A major change that has not been played out on television has been made to the Universal Championship match at WrestleMania 36. So, we all know that Roman Reigns has pulled out of WrestleMania due to his health. And I'm surprised that he hasn't been home this whole time, because I could have sworn I've seen him on SmackDown a few times cutting promos. So, maybe he didn't want to do it because of how many people is going to be in the arena. So, hopefully this is all over so we can get back to normal. So, spoiler warning, apparently, if you don't know who is his replacement, you can skip ahead probably about a minute from now. So, the person who is supposedly replacing Roman Reigns will be Braun Strowman. So, we're going to have Goldberg versus Braun Strowman. I think this is around the time that Goldberg is ready to leave. And I think one man's loss is another person's opportunity. And it will suck too, because if Braun Strowman wins, this will be his first long-awaited world title reign, and there will not be a crowd to cheer him on for it. I think it would be really cool if everybody record their reactions to this stuff and then post it on social media so these wrestlers can see how we feel about them winning or them losing. And that's why I was thinking about recording my reaction to it as well. But like I said, it's up in the air. I normally eat while I'm doing this, and I don't know, I could be a bit of an awkward person, and me being recorded for 3 to 4 hours, I don't know how that's gonna go. But I think everyone should record their reactions to all this and then post on social media so that the wrestlers can feel appreciated. Let's see, that is all the matches so far for WrestleMania. Let's see. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16 matches over the course of 2 days, starting on Saturday and then on Sunday. And then we us essential workers, have to go back to work on Monday. So I'm hoping, because this is 2 nights, that this WrestleMania will not last 8 hours like it's been doing, and that WrestleMania on Sunday will end at a respectable time. Stay safe, everyone out there dealing with the coronavirus. That's it for my WrestleMania recaps and my prediction for WrestleMania 36. It was a long journey. I actually did watch all the WrestleManias for WrestleMania 1 to 29. From 30 to 35, I went off a straight memory because they're more recent. But it was really cool, especially watching the WrestleManias before I started getting involved into WrestleMania, before WrestleMania 9. And it was kind of cool reliving some of those moments that I remembered, like, WrestleMania 25 with Shawn Michaels, remembering the storylines that was happening at that time. So, what a journey. And now we are here at WrestleMania weekend. It's an exciting week. WrestleMania, my birthday, and I realized this is actually the 1-year anniversary of WrestleBread. So next week will be episode 52, and I will go over, the fallout of WrestleMania. I'll go over what this past year has been as far as with podcasting and things I learned. And like I said in the last episode, I will be having a giveaway with a $25 WWE Shop e-gift card. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Jaydee Talks, Jaydee Talks, and follow the podcast at WrestleBread. And I will tweet out during WrestleMania 36 of how you can win this gift card. Be sure to let other people know so that, I can get a little popular. It'd be cool to get a little popular for this 1-year anniversary. So that's it for the WrestleBread podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Like I said, be sure to follow me on Twitter and follow the podcast on Twitter as well. Let me know your predictions for Wrestlemania. Hopefully you listened to episode 50 and 51 together. And it has been such a long year. And it has been a long year. I mean, we're only in April. And it's been a very, very tough and difficult 4 months. And I'm hoping that it's tough because the rest of the year will be so cool and so excellent. And we'll look back at this time and not really laugh because there's really nothing funny about all this, but look back at it and at least learn something, learn to appreciate the little things that we have. The fact that of going out to the gym, of meeting up with each other, of being able to go to the grocery store without having to worry about, are you going to get really sick? To be able to go outside and, just breathe fresh air, to not have to wear gloves and masks all the time. A lot of people feel like this is going to be the new normal. I can't say how long this is going to last. This may last a while, but I'm hoping that, we will get back to a point of being normal like we were in 2019. 2019 was such a good year, looking back, but 2020 is really kicking everyone's ass. So stay safe, especially those who are essential workers, or if you have to go outside, try to stay home, please. Let's get this over and done with. I am so tired. I really am. It is now midnight of me recording this, and I have to leave out of my house at 7 o'clock in the morning today. So thank you so much for listening and stay safe. Until next time, guys. Peace.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Check us out at WrestleBread.com and subscribe to WrestleBread on YouTube for more breaking news and Jaydee's opinions.